Hello, welcome to Okay Couch, the best place to chill with friends and get your games in this each and every Monday. My name's Dawn Blight, and joining me, I'm on a chair, but Kieran is on a couch. Kieran Marchant.
I'm always on a couch in these podcasts, and you know, just because it's been a PAX weekend, and you hit that czar.
I did hit that zone.
You hit that
I was
czar.
just laughing at the fact I swung around. A, see you, like, I was like, oh, you're on a couch. And then B, just one sock on.
Damn straight, you know. Partly way through getting ready for the day, but you know, we podcast and I can multitask.
Very good. Of course, it is our yearly, let's call it scuffed,
Not scuffed.
PAX podcast recording. So I've got some notes and things to go over, and I'll intercut some things to give some structure to this. But I'm intrigued to get you to elaborate more. I asked you last night at dinner what you'd rank your PAX this year. You think you said 7.5,
I did.
which I do feel is quite high.
Really?
Are you ranking that solely off some of the interviews and stuff we did? Because that's like a PAX adjacent.
No. I think I look at PAX as like the whole week or the whole weekend, I guess I'm rating. I still had a good time. Like, I don't think PAX was a weird one this year. Through, you know, various circumstances, really just Dell and me this year. And I didn't feel like there was heaps on. Sure, like I feel like the content of quote unquote PAX, as in like what was on the show floor, was in some ways diminishing again. Like I think it is. You know, the last couple of years I've always brought up is PAX a 3-day event for people who aren't in the industry or who aren't doing other things around it. And I still don't think so. I don't think it was this year either. We went to some great panels. It's always good to be a part of the community in terms of, you know, doing the odd bit of people watching, kind of being in the event and in the area. But I definitely think there's still room for improvement and room things to do. And the thing that frustrates me a little bit, not frustrates me, but like a lot of the cool panels and stuff were always like late night panels. And we always tended to have, well, we should have had plans for those late nights. So it's like we can't really attend those panels. But no, I still think a 7.5 is still a fairly honest and true score for it.
I think I was just because I was thinking, I'm like, I don't know what like PAX show floor is a very not you year.
Yeah,
Like
100%.
nothing. Like you played the Xbox ROG Friday, and I think there's nothing left on your list like after that.
Not really. Like even like Nintendo was like, as you know, you went and played Pokemon, and then it was like, oh, I'm not gonna line up for Pokemon. We only had like the shortened media hour just because of other commitments. So I was like, all right, I'm not gonna play Pokemon. I'm not gonna line up for anything Nintendo because because Nintendo was the biggest thing. All of Nintendo was like, I think the shortest I saw was like an hour wait time, for it. So I was never gonna line up to queue for that. None of the indies really flew out at me in terms of, hey, you should jump on and play this. I think there was a lot of repeats, which is normal. There's normal repeats, and I think, the rest of the show floor is of course a lot of consumer bits and pieces. I've never been a big one into like the random loot boxes or like the big swords they have for sales or King Comics or anything like that. So it was more in the end, more PAX this year was, I went in, played some TCGs and checked out the D&D stuff and had a, stroll around the kind of the tabletop areas a little bit more. So yeah, in terms of content, I think PAX probably scored a little lower this year. Like probably if we were talking purely about what's on the show floor, like it's closer to a 5 or a 6. I still think it was good. It was just maybe not quite the most Kieran coded PAX that it could have been.
Definitely, we sort of again talked about a little bit last night, but definitely was a weirder PAX year. Like I feel like I got so like I was just in work mode, right? And I feel like if I look at the year this PAX, I'm like, cool. Got a bunch of like interviews. I spent a bunch of time talking to Dave. All in all, I probably spent more time doing work, like if you want to count like talking and making connections with indie devs and whatever is work, which I guess it does. I feel like I spent more time doing that this year than ever before, and part of that is just because it was only the two of us and there was less distraction to get through the
Exactly.
way.
There was nothing. There was nothing else. Like literally, the moment we didn't have an interview, I didn't like. You were very much comfortable. Be like, okay, I'm going to go spend the next couple of hours doing indies,
Yeah,
and you know, that's for like that's a good thing in a lot of ways. But yeah, it kind of that reflected about what was on the show floor and what was PAX this year.
yeah. I was like thinking, I was like trying to make a like checklist in my head of like people I saw and like that would use it. It's like, okay, so it's like even if you think like last year, it's like Ash was on the panel. Ash isn't here this year because he was sick, and it's like Ryan ran that panel. Ryan from Pop Cultures wasn't here this year. Didn't see Drew. No Drew.
No, didn't
No.
agree.
Our like regular people that
Yeah, yeah,
sort of
regular people
started
thing. Yeah,
podcasts and stuff around the same time. Obviously, we started, and then I was even thinking like as a weird tangential side note, how so where was the next year? So this was our what's that? It was eighth. No,
7th.
seventh. Yeah. So like when we get to 2027, the 2027 PAX will be 10 years since Explosion Oak started, right? And I was also just thinking like all these people dropped off. Like there's all these people who either we knew or were making content that we like were acquaintances with that I haven't even seen at a PAX in like years. But there's new content creators and stuff who have started in like the last 2 years that I don't really know much about, but like they only started like say they started their careers in like 2020 when COVID happened, and there's a bunch of people from like when we started who have sort of dropped. It's like a weird. I was
It's
doing a lot
also
of contemplation about.
the weird thing is as well. Those new content creators aren't coming at it from a point of view of wanting to be quote unquote traditional media. They're coming at it from wanting to be content creators. So it's like it almost feels very different. Like it feels like it is. Of course, you know we live in that world now of TikToks and short form media being more important overall than anything else we're doing. Not anything else we're doing, but like anything else that we was important when we started. You know, podcast was like the big thing when we started. It was podcasting and, you know, doing the articles and doing the news sites, which we find ourselves probably in our niche, in our sector of the Australian independent media, thanks to yourself, large in part, is the articles we're writing.
Yeah, there's definitely the amount of media badges you see compared to content creator badge. I'd love to know a percentage of like how many is handed out compared to the other one. Yeah, it's funny, but yeah, I mean, overall, I had a good PAX. It was just another weird PAX. I mean, it's odd because obviously, I said coming into this, I was like, I had a weird PAX last year, different reasons, but I had a weird PAX last year, and then this year, just the two of us, I was like, man, this is also a weird PAX. Not like bad, just again, it's
Yeah,
just like
no, 100%.
weird to do PAX with only we're basically talk to you, talk to other people, whatever, and like had a good time, but it was the less of our usual faces, so odd. Um, all right, so circle back a little bit. I did want to get your thoughts on because you went with me this year. What do you think of the Australian Game Developer Awards?
They were good. It is really interesting to see. I guess it gives you a perspective of the amount of game development in terms of the entire teams. Like it's you see the indies in packs on the show floor, but that's generally like 2 to 3 people on the floor working it throughout the day that you see. When you're at the actual awards themselves, like, that is, like, the whole kind of time for the year that these teams get to show up together and let their hair down. So you see, like, the sheer amount of people working in game development and working in games this year, or kind of as a whole. So it gives you a very good perspective on, you know, the size of the industry and how it's growing. Um this year's I think it was an interesting year to attend in the awards because I think realistically there was only maybe a handful of winners realistically across all of them with multiples getting multiple awards being collected by the same dev or the
Yeah,
same
pretty sure there's like
studios.
maybe probably 6 different games if I was to guess. Like,
Yeah, yeah, and all of them were very grateful that Team Cherry hadn't kind of released Silk Song a bit earlier because otherwise it probably would have been Team Cherry dominating, and we'll probably see that next year at the Game Developer Awards. Is that it's probably going to be a lot of Team Cherry and a lot of Silk Song. But no, it was a fantastic night. It was really enjoyable to see developers get rewarded for their hard time and their talents, and yeah, it was good.
yeah, obviously I think complained on podcasts and stuff before about the huge shows prior because they used to do it at the forum here the last couple of years, and as someone who actually just wants to enjoys award shows and obviously like on what do you want to watch me and Ash talk about all the Academy Awards and Emmys, and like I like watching award shows and people giving speeches and getting recognized. So as someone who wants to see that, it always annoyed me when there was just a bunch of noise and drunk people in the background, and I'm like, that's fine. But like, either don't do it, go elsewhere, or like, just shut up when people are trying to speak, sort of thing. So it was good this year. They're like, no, it's a seated show. Everyone has to sit down, shut the hell up. We'll smash through the award show. Then you can transition across, and they did a little dance floor for people who wanted to get wasted and drunk and dance their night away. So I think it was a much better put together show this year, and hopefully they keep the same momentum going. But yeah, Drifter picking up Game of the Year and a bunch of other awards. Really good to see. Obviously, a big fan of that game. So worked out really well because I brought my shirt to wear. So got to wear that one night. Cool. Now I want to I'll intermittently interject some of these throughout this episode, but I want to cut in a little bit here. We did an interview with Justin Vazquez. I'm hopefully not screwing the name up. And Miles Winzler from the team on Grounded 2. So here's a little bit of that interview, and you'll be able to find the full thing on explosionnetwork.com.
And I guess that's the beauty of it as well, is with early access for Grounded 1 and now doing it again for Grounded 2, players get to be on that journey and see how the game kind of expands and how it travels. I guess so far in the first 2 months, has there been any feedback you've received that the team's immediately been like, hey, we need to action this and we want to get on top of this, that maybe wasn't expected or has come kind of organically from the community?
Absolutely. I'd love to hear, Miles, what comes to your mind first.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing we knew was going to be an area we wanted to get feedback on and talk to the community a bunch about was buggies, the new mounts. Just because internally we talked about this feature and we all had our own hopes and dreams and excitement for it, and but it's this big nebulous thing that could go in much different directions. So getting the community to really dig into it and tell us how they feel about it and where they want to see it going in the future has kind of helped us narrow our focus and make it more collaborative that way. So that was the big one that's definitely expected, was we were doing this by design to get buggies in players' hands with enough level of completion so they can have strong opinions on it. But I think beyond that, just thoughts on lore and different areas of the park. People really we know our fans are super into digging into lore details, but I've been impressed by just how deep that goes too. I'm sure you can feel the same.
Just to add to the buggies feedback, what's been really exciting for us is seeing the players' reaction to the feature in general and receiving it with such enthusiasm. But in hearing their feedback, it makes us feel good that we're very much in line with our community, because like Miles said, we got this version of the feature out, but we have all our hopes and dreams. I like how you put that. And to see a lot of the feedback coming in from our community, their hopes and dreams really align with ours. And so that's really nice because it makes us feel like, okay, we know what this community wants after years of early access to Grounded 1. Now, moving to Grounded 2, it feels like we're very much in line. They still, come up with certain things that surprise and delight even us and make us go like, oh, that's really interesting. But to feel like we're in lockstep gives us confidence in the fact that we are delivering the version of this game that they want to see.
I think I saw somewhere, I can't remember who said it, in some interview, the whole reason Grounded 2 basically happened was because of the, just want to be able to ride finally sort of thing. So
Yes.
it's sort of if you knock that out of the park, it's sort of the game success, I guess.
Knocked out of the park, no pun intended. Yeah, absolutely. It was buggies being able to ride the insects was the number one requested feature from Grounded 1. The challenge there is if the world isn't built from the ground up with buggies, with mounts in mind, you'd never be able to execute on the feature in a way that would satisfy the players. It would always feel kind of tacked on and not be able to fulfill its full potential. And so we knew from the beginning that if we want to do this feature right, we have to go somewhere new and build a world made for this feature.
Another thing we checked out on Saturday that I felt like had to Saturday, yes. That I felt like we had to at least talk about a little bit because it did sort of blow my mind was that Lenovo 3D
Oh my goodness! Yeah, okay, yeah.
laptop.
Yeah.
So we did a walk through Lenovo and they showed off some of their laptops and stuff like that. And I'll probably put up an article briefly going over some of that once I'm back home and stuff. But I do want to put on here they have I think it's a Lenovo 9i 10th generation. I think something I might be missing a subtitle name of it, but it's a laptop, like it's super gaming laptop, cool story. But then it's got tech in it. It's got a 3D display, like that to me reminded me of the 3DS simply because you don't need glasses and everything, and it has like a little slider so you can adjust the like 3D effect and whatever, find what works for you and stuff like that. But it has eye tracking software in the camera that grabs onto your eyes and then makes the 3D sort of work. And I find 3D so interesting because it's like a technology that has been around since I was a kid, like the cellophane glasses. And then you see it like constantly like come up, down through movies, games, whatever, different things. I mean, at some stage, my dad had a 3D TV and the glasses at home and all this sort of stuff. So I always find it quite interesting. But this thing surprisingly worked. The only time I gave it the wiggle room of sometimes it would jitter out when someone like walked behind and the camera would obviously like get freaked the fuck out because it would see two pairs of eyes. Well, I'm like, yeah, this probably isn't it's a convention for ideal scenario. That's fine. But yeah, I mean, we drove, got to check it out. They did a little graphic demo and then put on Cyberpunk. But drive around in Cyberpunk in the car in the 3D space in the big open desert. I was like, man, this surprisingly is very cool. I don't know if it's worth the money because that's a big question. However much that computer will cost, I'm sure it'll be expensive, lo and behold. But I thought it was pretty cool. You didn't think it would work for you, and it did work for you. So
Somewhat. I don't think it quite worked in terms of the depth creation that 3D is supposed to do. I don't think my eyes will ever get that to work, but it definitely. I could see I could see it working in terms of how the screen was changing depending on where I was positioned. Or my big thing with it, I thought it was a cool technology, but my big worry, not my big worry, but I think it is. My problem with it was every time you turned away from it, whether you were to maybe in a real world instance, like you look at your phone or talk to somebody or look at a different monitor because you're doing something else or look at something else, it would then take a couple seconds afterwards for it to readjust and reposition itself and like the screen would go funny. Um, for me, that would break immersion and probably become annoying enough where I would stop using the software pretty quickly. Um, I think in general, I think it's great technology. I think it's really interesting technology. I just don't see the use case for myself where I would use it in day-to-day life.
no, I'm definitely not like, man, this is like, it's just that's my side of me that gets excited about new technology sometimes, or like different takes on technology. Was like, oh, that's fun. I don't really know in what world anyone really needs that.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, as soon as they showed it, and I was like, "Wow, this works," then began asking, how does it work and stuff, and the fact that it's their software that they're like basically testing games to. I think they said they got 20 currently or something. That their software in the background makes the 3D work, so it's not even on the developers and um stuff like that, which will help. I'm like sticking it in a laptop. I'm like, it's probably not ideal. Really, what you need to do is you need to be able to like get a monitor with a pop-out camera webcam on the top of that, enable wider angles on it. So the stuff you're talking about, like if you have a dual monitor, like I feel like maybe iterations would help it. Would be possibly, yeah. All right, here's another little interview snippet, this time with Rob Davies from Sucker Punch, talking about, of course, Ghosts of Yoto, which just released. Again, little cutout, full interview, explosionout.com.
I guess carrying on from my other question, this is once again very personal for me. Open world burnout is very much a thing in open world games. I'm very much a gamer that will scour the map completely and then find myself missing out on the last maybe third to half of the game because I've just spent too much time already. I've burnt myself out. As a campaign director, how do you, I guess, assist with keeping players open and giving them the opportunity to explore it, but also assisting with them to making sure that they get to see through Atsu's story and get to see the even more incredible content that is later in the game?
Oh man, what a terrific question, right? Maybe I'll give you a really simple example of something and it'll give you some insight into our thought process. In the game, there's some onsens, and each one has a little riddle next to it. And we went back and forth on whether to give you a checklist or a reward for doing all these onsen secrets. And in the end, we just said, let go. Let's just have moments of beauty on these. Do we really need another itchy checklist mechanic on this? Or can we just let Ghost be Ghost? And all four of us, myself, the systems lead, the creative directors, and the designers working on it, like, we don't need players to feel like everything in this game is a must-do. Let them appreciate it at a more human level and just let it be a moment in Japan that feels sweet. So there is absolutely fantastic rewards in this game for players who commit to big parts of the content. But there's also things in the game that we're fine just letting you miss and skip, like the bow secrets in the game.
Yes.
I think there's a trophy associated with it, but that's about as far as we're willing to go with that. And partially it's because we don't really want players to rush through the game or feel like everything is a must-do. We want you to feel like a wanderer who's going on your journey. So if you're inspired by bounties and that's part of the fantasies for you, get after it. Go after them and have a blast doing them. If you're more inspired by story, focus on Atsu's tale of revenge and vengeance and the emotions and the characters that feature along the way. But the game is not going to judge you for playing one way or another, and so we try to make the game as wide as possible so that players who want 100% the game are fully supported, and players who want a more mainline experience will also have a fantastic experience. It's a good deal more work to do it that way sometimes, and we have to revisit decisions sometimes and retune things, but it's kind of how we roll.
I know it's not Arcade Couch Between the Cushions, but if we want to go over this one next time we record with Ash, to have a laugh about it. But I would be remiss not to mention that we went all the way out to Fortress on Saturday night, got all the way there, was standing in line, and then you said, "You've got my ticket, right?"
Yeah. He did not have my ticket. But I'd like to say I was backed up by Ashley Hobley on this matter.
Yeah, I neither feel at fault or blame yous for
same as me, right? Same as me. I'm equally like, I don't blame you, and I don't feel like I fucked up either. It was just a general. There was obviously a couple of weeks ago the Fortress event was announced. Dylan posted it in our group chat, and said, "Hey, do you guys want to do this?" I answered, "Yeah, sure, that sounds good." Dylan then replied, "Cool, locked in." From Dylan's point of view, cool locked in was cool. I've purchased my ticket. We'll locked in. We'll do it. From Ashley and my point of view, Dylan's message was cool locked in. I've bought all of our tickets. We'll just send him some money, and we're locked in to go. So we got there. Yeah, didn't have a ticket. Went fuck. All right. Wait. Ashley sadly was unable to join us because he's not feeling too good. Hey, did you grab a ticket for Fortress? I'll just give you the money and I'll use your ticket. And Ashley's like, no. I thought Dylan. I was under the impression that Dylan had organized it. So there was 2 out of 3 of us thought that Dylan had organized it. So I was vindicated in terms of I wasn't just an idiot that read the message and presumed incorrectly, even though it was incorrect. But yeah, it was quite funny. It was, in the end, it was a quick fuck it. All right, I'll stroll. Wanted to stroll home. I went to go drink dinner for a bar. Was going to meet up with friends, and then the event they were at was also sold out of tickets. So I was like, I can't go to that either.
But they at Glitch.
Yeah, they're a Glitch. Yeah, which ridiculously close to here, like literally a block that way
Rip.
to our current hotel, which would have been very easy to get to.
Hey, by the time I saw that event was on, I'd already purchased tickets for
Yeah,
one of
100%.
us.
Yeah. So yeah, it was so Saturday night ended up being pretty chill. I'd say pretty chill, right? Because I got food, I came back, I watched some Critical Role, I just chilled out. But I was like, I think it's a thing imbued with me by my parents and how they would be for me in terms of being out late. Like I was like, I'm gonna stay up. I'll be semi-awake for when Dylan walks in because my bedroom or my bed is located where the door to this apartment opens up. So I'll wait for him. 2:15 comes, I'm like, fuck it. I'm just like 2:15 in the morning. I'm like, all right, fuck it. I'm just gonna go to sleep. He'll probably wake me up when he comes in. It must have been like what? It was after 3.
It was 3:15 is 3:30.
3:30, 3:30 when you strolled in. And you woke me up and I was like, fine. I was like, okay. And Dylan kind of mumbled a couple of things and then just strolled on to, I think he had a shower and then went to bed. And I was like, all right, I'll just wait till the morning to hear about this because I'd seen his Instagram stories. He'd been videoing the whole time. And what anecdotes do you have from your little adventure?
I don't remember a lot. No, I don't know. Like I think it was that thing of like where once you didn't get in, I'm like, well, I'll pay for the tickets. So I'm at least gonna go in and like get a drink because you got a drink token as part.
I said that to you. I said make sure go in and have fun and have a drink. Like by no means bestowed upon you to not do that.
And I would say over the last, I don't know, the second half of my life, I've become very I think more independent than I was as definitely when in high school and everything like that. So I was like, oh fine, I'll go in or whatever, like chill out. And then went in, grabbed my drink, and then I don't really know at what stage, but I'm like, now I'm just dancing with people. Like to the point, the funniest earliest antidote I had was somehow like because it's that whole thing of like I got there at like 8:30ish, 8:30, 8:30, I think. It started at 7. I mean, obviously, it would have been dead at 7 when it started. But like DJs playing, I think they had 4 different DJs for the night. But the first person's doing their set, and like no one's dancing. It's doing that whole thing where everyone's too sober to do it. Everyone's just standing around. And then I think I was part of probably like the first 10 people that like I just quickly drowned like 2 or 3 drinks and was like, all right, let's go. And then the girl who was on so there's bars on the left and then there's bars on the right side. Like I think when I went back over for a drink, she was like, "Oh, thank God, a bunch of you are finally dancing." Like, because like she's like standing there watching, being like, "Fucking bunch of gamers being boring, not doing anything."
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, it was like good thing. Like maybe more people just need to get a few more drinks in them or something. I think I said. And then then I come back like half an hour later from another drink or whatever, and then she's like, "It's a lot more people dancing by this point." So I was talking to her again, and she was like, "Oh, finally, like more people." I'm like, "Yeah, but what you don't know is I pointed out. So somehow the crowd of people who were willing to dance, which probably maybe this point was like 20, 30 people, had we'd all sort of drifted close to the stage to the right hand corner, sort of closer to where that bar is. So from her point of view, like there's all these people dancing.
Packed. Yeah.
But I said, if you look through that, like when I said to her, I'm like, when you're in there and you look behind over to the left, to the other side of the bar, it's packed and like 70% of this place is still just people just standing there doing nothing. And she just started laughing. So I was like, yeah, I don't know. What do you like? There's that back wall area where there's just like obviously just a bunch of people standing there going, like I saw a dude there the entire night. He was there when the time I got there. I think he left maybe half an hour before me. He did nothing but just stand against that wall. And I got to be honest, I get it. Like, it's that whole, like, and I think he was by himself too. But I'm like,
worst nightmare.
I was just like, you even need to, like, I don't know. It's easier said than done, but I'm like, either put yourself out there or just don't.
And boy, did you put yourself out there, Dylan.
Every day, bro.
Well, the funny thing, because I remember one of your Instagram stories, you were either, like, stood on the stage or you were stood elevated to everybody because you were, like, in line with the DJ, but then looking over people. Maybe you were just holding
I
up.
think I was just holding my phone,
Right,
right,
your
but I
phone
do
up.
have videos of like the DJ. Like I got all right up to the stage and it was like talking to him and
Yeah.
yeah.
And then you came back yesterday. You told me you were like, yeah. I like ordered a drink, but then was like, hey, but can you chug like a Red Bull in that, please?
Yeah, and then that same bartender at some stage was like, "Can you have like a water?" And I was like, which is always the worst side.
Which is I look bad, eh? Okay.
I was like, "Yeah, do I look fucked or something?" But yeah, no, I felt pretty fucked the next day. To be honest, so yeah,
You did, yeah.
But you know, this was it before we came because I was like, man, this PAX this year, PAX last year, shit. This year, I'm gonna do all the content. I'm gonna party hard, and then all this stuff, and then I can't remember if it was you or Ash one night. I was like, "How are you gonna do all that and do the content?" And I'm like, "Fucking, I will." And don't tell me I didn't fucking party hard Saturday night, get 3.5 hours sleep, and then go up and do PAX from fucking the whole day, and I didn't leave until the fucking
We
show.
also went late to PAX. We didn't get there. We didn't even get to like breakfast to like.
We got there 2 hours in. Let's be fair.
Yeah.
Like the show opens at 10. We could have been there at 10 if we skipped breakfast, or if I just had a muesli bar, which I usually do in the morning. But I did need something with grease in it that morning to get me
appropriate.
Day, appropriate. So we got in at 12, and then I didn't get back here till like I left when they were closing the.
Yeah, you smashed it. You went hard.
Yeah. Look, man. I really want if it was Ash, I just want him to know I'm the man of my word, you know? And I drank enough for the two of us.
That was the other thing. He was like, I just felt compelled that I had to drink enough alcohol for Ash as well because he didn't get to be here. I was like, all right.
Well, Ash is the biggest partier of all of us. So,
he is. You might not believe it, audience members, but he is an animal.
Yeah, so I just felt like obligated, yeah. Something else we did on before PAX was Games World exhibition at Acme. I can't remember if it's Games or Game, but
I think it's Game Worlds.
Game Worlds. Okay, I put the S in the wrong word.
I think.
Even. I put up an article already on the website, so I spoke quite highly of it. I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a very well put together highlight from the early years of like 70s DOS games. I think when you walk in, you see like this fucking Google whatever table type touchscreen thing they've set up with D&D, and then in the corner you've got like Hobbit DOS games and stuff like that. And then as you make your way through to the other end of the exhibition, you're getting more closer to modern day stuff like what's at the end you got Silk Song Celeste. Obviously Silk Song's a huge part of the exhibition. But I really enjoyed it. What do you make of it?
It was a really good. I think it was really interesting to see the variety of worlds, and I guess narrative and world building is kind of some of my favorite things in video games. So to see that come about throughout the exhibition was really cool. It had a nice variety of interactable exhibits throughout it, which I thought was really good and really fun. Good place to go for anybody who is interested in games. I don't know how much longer it's open for, but if people are in the area, they should check it out.
I think it's early next, like it's a while. Like it's not the sort of exhibition like that's a big, like it's a full setup. Obviously, like would have been expensive, and it's not free. You should clarify. It's like somewhere between $30 and $40, I think, per ticket or something like that. I managed to get ours provided by Acme, thank you. But so it's not like remember like last year they had the Untitled Goose Game thing on at the time. That was just like a very, sort of small room put together to highlight that game. That was a free exhibition, but this is also the third like they've put on one of these since the earliest one was like 2008. And I remember saying, I think I went to the first one. I don't recall if I ever went to the second one that they put on. That was probably their big one. Maybe I didn't, I just don't remember it, but anyway, that's cool, and I just kept recommending it to every person.
You did. I will say two major stand-up points from that exhibit. One was there was a section talking about romance that I thought was fucking hilarious, and like not just normal romance, but like spicy romance. But it was a small, like pink walled little area that was sectioned off by like lacy pink curtains, and all it was writing on the one side of the wall, 3 monitors, all of them about Baldur's Gate 3. Two of the monitors like kind of rotating between the different romance options and like events that could happen. But then the center one was the largest monitor, was just Astarion shirtless. And I was like, man, these people know what they need to give, you know? They know what's important in the world. The other one was we sat for a little bit. Towards the end of the exhibition, not 33. There was this like speed running thing for Celeste, and it was supposed to challenge people where you're supposed to like try and complete 20 rooms at once throughout Celeste. And we sat there for a while. It was really rough because not only does it show your screen of what you're speedrunning, up above you it plays at the exact same time for the 2 minutes that you've got. It plays the quickest run for the day. Plays at the exact same time.
Which I want to say also, just quickly, I kept watching it going, it's not that good.
No, it wasn't that good. We were all sat there like, to be honest, yeah, Dylan and me sat there going, what the? And it was really rough because every time it died, the player died, the lighting like on the little area you had to be stood to play the game would turn red, as if to say you fucked up. And it was rough. And so we sat there for a while watching people, and people were fucking terrible. Like people were awful. And so I was like, Dylan, you've played Celeste before, right? And he's like, yeah, I played Celeste before. I finished it, I beat the game. So I was like, you should be able to smash it. He was like, yeah, I should be able to smash this. So after a while, Dylan gets up there, doesn't do too great, doesn't smash it, doesn't do too great. Comes back with some excuse that it's terribly laggy.
Yeah, it's both an excuse, but the world of legitimate excuses, because it was very laggy, and I would love to know if that's just how the person on the top screen did it. If so, well done, they attuned their brain to the lag very well, or if it was just they needed to like restart the that machine or whatever to have it catch up. But yeah, I was like watching it, and then there was that girl on it before me, and then when I went and grabbed the controller, was watching her and being like, man, struggling, but she did okay. But when she grabbed the controller, she's like, beware, it's very laggy, and I'm thinking, oh, sure. And then as soon as I like tapped right on the controller to like move, I was like, I was like, no, it is. You need to press like jump 1.5 seconds before you wanted to do anything. So yeah. All right, last little interjection for an interview. This one I will cut out from interview with the Jackbox people, Mike, Bilder, and Allard. Laban. Here's a little bit of that, and of course, again, the full thing will be on explosionover.com.
I would say that's my favorite one in this pack. Yeah, Hearsay. It's just unique. It's different, and it's amazing how simple making funny sound effects is to make everyone laugh. And the barrier to entry is really low. We have other performing games where you have to get up and present and things in past packs, and some people don't like that because they don't like to get up and present or want to be, the spotlight. And this game, everyone can just make weird sound effects into their phone. There's no intimidation in it, and the payoff is always very funny. And so I like that one. I also think, we try to move our technology forward every year with some new mechanics for the interface of the phone controller, and this one definitely does that. Yeah.
And we also have a new hidden identity game called Suspectives, and it's kind of like everybody's a suspect and everyone's a detective, and it's a very interesting game where we start off with a survey, so you're actually chasing down facts for each of the players. So rather than kind of look for, well, they're acting weird, they must be guilty, you can actually deduce who's guilty by sort of elimination and deduction, which is, from a game design standpoint, a really, really solid game mechanic.
Yeah.
And then there's Cookie House, which is our cozy cookie drawing game. It's, again, sort of super accessible, like all Jackbox games. You don't have to be a great artist, but you have to make cute cookies and make funny, make funny slogans for them. So.
Yeah. And the last one is Dominate, which is you take something and then ruin it. So you're given a prompt like a beautiful sunrise, and then you have to ruin that sunrise, right?
At the end of the world.
Right, exactly. And so it's played in a similar manner to games like Quiplash, where multiple prompts go up against each other and people vote. But it's just a fun twist, and kind of time to laughter on that one is really short as well. So it's a very fun, accessible game in the pack.
Classic Jackbox game.
Yeah.
All right, last thing. I think, to touch on, unless you think of anything after this, but we tried out League of Legends Riftbound, the trading card game that is not out in Australia yet, but they had it here. It was super popular. We lined up for a bit on Friday before they were like, no, it's cut off. You got to book online or whatever. Booked online, managed to get a session in later that Friday. Did it. They did not have product there that you could buy or anything like that. It's not out until
30th.
30th, end of the month. So I mean, they still could have had stuff there. I mean, it's not too far out, but they didn't. It was solely line up, learn to play sessions. They had little trial promo, and they're not even proper intro decks. They're like test ones that have a printout across them that says they're test decks or whatever. But we did that. It was a super sort of rushed introduction. Like the person was trying to teach us and other people at the same time, and there were so many people. You could tell they were sort of getting stressed and trying to rush through the the amount of people I think that they had lined up. So it was like, da 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 da. Here's the thing, blah blah blah. But what were your impressions of this latest TCG to join the game?
I think it's interesting. I think it finds a place where it's like it takes on values from popular TCGs like Magic, where it has a mana system, but then also changes it up a bit with like the battlefields that you're fighting over, kind of the way that you have to, for some of the bigger or more important creatures that you play, you have to kind of refund some of the mana and like put it back into the mana deck. It's interesting. I think I have to play it more. Like I need to play it properly over a couple times. Because at the moment we literally got like maybe I don't even know if it was that much over 10 minutes. It didn't feel like it was that long. The game kind of got shut off pretty quickly for us to put like, as in like, hey, I need to move you guys on pretty
What
quickly.
was it? You had to get to 10 or 8 points.
8. I think 8 is the
You
standard.
get to 8 points to win, and basically you have to own like these 2 different battlefields on the game. But they were like, you will struggle to get the 4 points, and that's where they were sort of doing it, and they weren't doing the proper win conditions. So it wasn't like you played a proper game.
Yeah, no, exactly. So it's good to get hands on cards. It was nice to see. Like, I think no matter what, I think my thing is it was just ridiculous. They didn't have. I was expecting, like, because we had Lorcana there last year. I was expecting the booth and the area to play and learn the game was going to be the same size as what Lorcana was, which is very big, multiple tables, like heaps of space.
Just before we continue, do you reckon, I was trying to work it out, Lorcana was probably the same, not people wise, but I think their booth was like the same size still?
Yeah, 100%. Lorcana, I think, was slightly bigger because they were also showing board games to the one side of it as well. But Riftbound had such a small area. It only had, I think there was only 4 tables, realistically. Like 4 tables of 4. So that's like literally only 16 people at a time could be playing the game. And like it was clear because we went there 10 a.m. Friday morning. And it was clear the enforcers, PAX, just hadn't prepared anything. There was no lines ready. There was no areas to stand in.
They're putting down
nothing.
the sticky tape for the lines as people are lining.
Yeah, as they've kind of realized, oh fuck, this is going to be really busy because, you know, we had a line that was going down the aisle for the rest of the board games area because of that's how busy it was, and very short sighted because it's a League of Legends card game. Of course, it was going to be popular. Like, of course, it was going to be probably the biggest thing at the TCG area. So, yeah, to see that was very limited. Like, literally by the end of Friday, everything for the whole weekend in terms of what you could book in was booked out, was done. Instead of, which is a bit short sighted, they probably should have only released the bookings when, like, either 2 hours beforehand or like the day of, to stop people from like just pre-booking something a day out. Because, you know, people who only had a Sunday pass, no fucking hope of being able to really get a seat, you know. Even when we went for our booking for 4:30, like people had still been waiting there for an hour and a half to try and get an extra table space at the same time. So it was like they were managing people who had booked in, but then also at the same time were trying to manage people who were just queuing up to get a chance to play.
Yeah, again, I just was very surprised at how unprepared they seemed to be for the popularity given. It's not even that. It's like League of Legends, one of the biggest gaming IPs in the world currently, and has been for over 10 years now, but also has now just come off the back of 2 massive Netflix anime seasons that have people that might not even play the game but love that and now love the world. and they don't enjoy playing League of Legends because they don't enjoy MOBAs, which is fine, but they love the world and characters, and maybe they're more interested in the card game or the 2x KO fighting game. You know what I mean? Like the world is.
Which I'm surprised that wasn't here.
Yeah,
Anyway,
well, just launched in what beta the week of whatever open beta, whatever it was. So, but yeah, that was a bit surprising. So odd, nonetheless. You got a promo card for completing it as well, an Ari promo card, which what you said was selling for billions of dollars already online. So
it was selling for a decent amount, but I don't think it'll be that much anymore. That was when I looked at it. That was when I looked at it on Friday. Yeah, no, it's like $30.
yeah, okay.
Unless you got like a pristine, like graded card, which some people apparently already have.
Well, I guess you could have got the promo card and then taken it to Cherie Collectibles.
Yeah, to get it
that way at
graded
the back of it, get it graded at the same place, and then put it online if you want. But yeah, I happily will just keep my card. Thank you. Yeah, so keen to check out more of that. As a fan of card games and League of Legends, I guess. Before we wrap up, is there anything else? I mean, obviously I played a bunch of indie games. I haven't made a list. There's articles already on the website. I'm gonna have posting more in the coming days, of course, try and do that sort of thing. But I just could not work my brain out to highlight any, but they were all great. I love them all. Well done, people making video games. Is there anything else you want to highlight or say before we wrap up this?
No, people just get excited to hit that Tsar this weekend.
Yeah, just quickly on the Tsar. I will say
on the
Tsar as we end. Played the Tsar. It plays very well. It is shocking how well Pokemon plays when it's running at 60 frames a second. Like when you're doing a boss battle mechanic where they're like you've got to actually dodge attacks. It's shocking that 60 frames can help that feel so much better. But I mean, as soon as I picked up the controller to play it and I just began swirling the character around, I was like, oh, motion. So hitting that Tsar was very good. All right, cool. Thank you for listening. Of course, check out all the other interviews, the stuff I said will be coming on explosionhour.com. And Instagram, I posted a bunch of stuff, TikTok, that sort of stuff. Also, just quickly before we wrap up, of a side note, going into this year, again, because of not social media being shit at all places, I don't even post anything on X or I just don't know where the fuck. I just solely post on Instagram and TikTok now. I was like, well, I don't know what social media people use now, so whatever. Anyway, weird. All right, thank you. Goodbye.